permutations, but they can have repetitions in them. So you can use the word pool or loop or Mississippi, something like that, or basketball. So here it says, so far all examples we have had different letters, but as soon as we have words with letters that repeat, we have to account for that by dividing by the total number of arrangements by the number of repetitions. For example, arrangement for the letter Peter would be 5 factorial over 2 factorial. So Peter would be P-E-T-E-R, correct? Now I have that stacking going on. So what I do is I treat the top as if they're all different. Like I can tell the difference between the two E's. So there's no restrictions on Peter, it's just rearranging Peter. So I would have 5 letters for this, then I hold a letter 4, then I hold a letter 3, hold a letter 2, hold a letter 1, and it's a permutation because it's a word, right? And my answer would be 5 factorial. Now 5 factorial will be on the test. It'll be wrong, but it'll be on the test. Because 5 factorial would be the answer if we were doing like brain, where it's all different letters, correct? So how do we get rid of the cases where Peter, and then I take the 2 E's and I swap them, Peter, make the same word? Well, what I do is you just divide by, if you have double ups or triple ups, so it'd be 2 factorial. So it's actually 60 instead of 120. It's half the amount of words, which makes sense. So you'd have 120 if you had them all, but because the E's can swap, it's half of them. Now, it would be way harder to do if you actually had to do other things, but all you do is you divide by the factorial of what you have repeating. So if you have 2 E's, you do 2 factorial. If you had 3 A's, you do 3 factorial on the bottom as well. So it says a set of n objects with A of one kind that are identical and B of another kind, second kind that are identical, and C of a third kind that are identical, and so on. You would do n factorial on the top, and then you divide by A factorial, B factorial, C factorial. You don't put them together. You don't say like 6 factorial when there's a 2 and a 3, because they're not the same letters. So how many different 10-letter arrangements can be made using the letters of basketball? So I have basketball and I have basketball. Are these 2 words different? No. I switched the 2 L's. Can you tell? Arlen can, the rest of you can't. But so the average bear cannot tell that the L's switched, but Arlen ain't no average bear, so he can tell. All right. So let's talk about aardvark. What happens when we have more? So A, R, D, V, A, R. Okay. So before they ask me anything about this question, I will immediately do the denominator right away. Now the reason why I stack the letters is to remind you that you have that extra step. You're going to have a denominator, correct? So that's a key thing. So before I even do this question, I go to my denominator and I put 3 factorial, 2 factorial. Because I have 3 A's and 2 R's. Now, everyone, go 3 factorial, 2 factorial in your calculator. What do you get? 12. Okay. Now what if I put them together and I go 5 factorial? What's 5 factorial? It's not 12. True. It's 120. So can I just lump them together? No, that would mean I have 5 of the same letter, and I don't have 5 of the same letter. I have 3 and 2. Okay? So now we deal with the top, remembering that we treat the letters as if I can tell them apart, because dividing with 3 factorial, 2 factorial gets rid of the problems. Yes? So aardvark has 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 letters. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And what does it say? It says the A's must be together. How many A's are there? 3. So I'm going to hook the 3 A's together. And then some people will say 1, 1, 1. No. We treat the A's like they're different. The 3 factorial gets rid of the cases where they're not. Right? That 3 factorial in the denominator. So how many A's would I have for the first blank? 3. Then I have to box and hold because I'm not allowed to repeat, because I have to leave a letter behind, just like I have to leave a textbook behind when I put the aligned textbooks in a bookshelf. So how many do I have left for the next one? 2, then 1. How many letters do I have left? 5, then 4, 3, 2, 1, and then I'm done? No, what do I still have to do? Times it by the cases, which is 6. Now, if it said together at the front, would I be done? If it said together at the front, I'd be done. Yep. So you have to read, because sometimes they say together at the front, and you guys go times 6 because you're so used to putting that. So make sure you read. So I have to extend my denominator, and then I go multiplied by 6. So what you end up with is 3 factorial on the top. Now you could type this all in, but I want to prove a point. We have 3 factorial and 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, so 6 factorial over 3 factorial, 2 factorial. The 3 factorials are going to be able to cancel, and my answer is 360, because I know 6 factorial is 720, 2 factorial is 2, is 360. But what if they didn't cancel? I want everyone to type these in, because if you got TI-83, you're probably going to get the wrong answer. So go type it in. And if you have a TI-84, you might get a wrong answer too. The answer should be 360. So let's remember what our calculator always does. No matter what, our calculator will follow order of operations. Do we all agree? That is a no-go of any change. That is a guarantee on that calculator. It follows order of operations. So let's think about this when we're typing it in. If we go 3 factorial, 6 factorial, divided by 3 factorial, 2 factorial, order of operations is BEDMAS. So it's brackets, exponents, division, multiplication, whatever order they come in. Addition, subtraction, whatever order they come in. Correct? So what is our calculator doing when we're doing this? It's going 3 factorial times 6 factorial. Well, that's good. It's taking that answer and it's doing what? Dividing it by 3 factorial. And then it's taking that answer and it's multiplying by 2. Is that what we want it to do? No. So if you want to do something first, brackets are very important, because if you want to do something first, if you put brackets around it, it has to do it. Correct? So if we had just went like this, it'll give us 360. Now, if you're the TI-84s, I hope most of you know this, that you have a fraction button. If you don't, today's your fun day. Okay. If you have the TI-84s, not the charging ones, the normal ones, some of you have TI-84s that are actually TI-83s that look like TI-84s. You'll find out soon enough, and then you'll realize your life is not as good as what it's thought. So, this is how you're going to find out. Everyone following along? So you're using the roundish looking one. Like this. The non-chargers. Yeah? You have the TI-83s, don't even try it. You don't have a fraction. These, if you don't have a fraction button, I apologize. You have a TI-83 hidden in a TI-84 body. When they first started making them. So, everyone following along? Alpha, y equals, enter. Did a fraction pop up? Did a fraction pop up? If the fraction didn't pop up, you either messed up or you have a fake TI-84. And I'm sorry about your luck. Yours worked? So, winning. Okay. Everyone listen. If ever there is a fraction, okay, I'm just straight up with you. If you have a TI-83, you don't get the fraction button. If you have a TI-84, you are given the fraction button. You have been given a gift. Use it. If not, hand your calculator over to the person with the TI-83. They will use it. Okay? So whenever you have a fraction on a question, you should be using the fraction button. Because if you use the fraction button, you don't need 7,000 brackets and you can't make an oopsie with brackets. If you have a TI-83, you're just going to know where to put your brackets. You'll be totally fine. You just have to press a few extra buttons. It's not the end of the world. But if you have the option of a fraction, use it. If you have the plugging in calculators, Some of you have this quick function. If not, you have to do alpha y equals enter as well. So the fancy calculators, the plug-in ones, you can go alpha y equals enter as well. That will for sure work. But on a lot of them, just going alpha link works. Alpha and the link button right beside it. There's a couple of them that doesn't have that. I don't know why. But if you just go alpha link, your fraction pops up. If that doesn't work for you, alpha y equals enter will work. Yeah? Everyone who doesn't have a TI-83 tried that out? I didn't have a fraction button, and my log button sucked as well, and I didn't have no exponents that popped up, and I had to use brackets like you wouldn't believe because we only had TI-83s, and I survived. So it's just buttons are a little bit easier, but it doesn't make any difference. People who get hundreds with a TI-83, people who get hundreds with a TI-84, and people who get hundreds with a TI-83, and people who get 60s with a TI-84. Just have to know how to use your calculator. All right. So I can cancel these, and I can get 360 without my calculator, and I didn't need a fraction button, and I didn't need any brackets. Right? You could have just done this after you have them memorized. Okay, Vancouver. Must start with V's. Mathematical vowels must be together. Go. So we have Vancouver. So our first thing we do, V-A-N-C-O-U-V-E-R. I double check to make sure I have all my stacked ones. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. But before I forget, I put the 2 factorial on the bottom so that I don't forget that, right? We stack the letters twofold so we don't miss a stacked letter, and so we remember to do the denominator. It's like a, why am I stacking the, denominator. They will have the answer to you forgetting to divide by those factorials in there. More often than not, I know you might be like, oh, they're so mean. They put the most tricky ones there. They often do not put the answers to you typing it into your calculator wrong. So like how I said, if you typed it in, divided by the bottom, and you forgot the brackets, that's just a calculator oopsie. They don't often put that one. They put oopsies of you like putting the numbers in the wrong spot or forgetting the denominator and stuff. So if you do that, more often than not, your answer just won't be there. So hopefully that's a hint, like, what am I doing wrong? Need brackets. So they're not tricky. They're just putting the answers that are more common, not tricky because you typed in your calculator without brackets. Okay? All right. Must start with the V's. So I'm starting with the V's. So I have 2, then 1. I treat them like they're different. Then I have 7 letters left. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, which is 2 factorial times 7 factorial, not 8 factorial. Why is it not 8? What word is there? Yeah.
Start with the V's.
Start. So it's not together. It says start with them together. So we're not moving them. So we're not multiplying by 8. Those cancel, it's 5,040. Then we have mathematical. The vowels must be together. So I have M, A, T, H, E, M, A, T, I, C, A, L. Yeah? Before I even go to do the question, I'm going to put 2 factorial, 3 factorial, 2 factorial in the denominator. Does it matter what order I write those ones in? No, it's multiplication. 2 times 3, 3 times 2. Right? 2 times 3 times 3, 3 times 3 times 2. Same answer. Bless you. Wow, that was quite the sneak. You threw your calculator while you sneezed. That was eventful. All right. That is the worst straight line I've ever seen. It's got like an upward slant. Okay. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. I always try twice. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. The vowels are the 3 A's, the E, and the I. So how many vowels are there? 5. And we treat them like they're all different, even though the A's are the same. So we do 5, and then leave 1. 4, 3, 2, 1. How many letters are left? 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And then I times by 8. So on the top I have 5 factorial, 8 factorial, divided by 2 factorial, 3 factorial, 2 factorial. What if they write it as 2 times 2 times 3 factorial? Would they be wrong? 2 factorial and 2 are the only ones that are the same. 2 factorial is 2 times 1, which is 2. You don't have to write it with a factorial. So for those of you going 2 factorial, 3 factorial, 2 factorial, and having to arrow over to probability and pick the factorial, I would just go 2 times 3 factorial times 2. Save yourself some time. Memorize 3 factorial is 6. Save yourself more. Okay. Okay. What's the answer to this one? What do we get? Help me.
1,600.
Do you agree? Bless you. All right. Pencils down. So this is a pathway. They're asked sometimes. Pathway questions used to be in 30 applied. There was 30 pure and 30 applied, but before 30-1 and 30-2, which is pre-calculated foundation. So there is a way that I can mathematically show you that I get the correct answer without just doing factorials. I'm going to show you the pathway way. You will never be asked that way because this is in the permutations and combinations unit. So you must have to use permutations and combinations to get an answer, correct? Not pathways. But I don't want you to just believe that I'm telling you truth. I want to show you that it's the truth, okay? So everyone's pencils down because I don't want them doing this. So we're going from A to B, and what I can do is I can actually sum or add up the pathways as I go along, okay? Like if I have one pathway coming in and another one pathway coming in, that's a total of 2 pathways that could get me to that spot, correct? And if I have 2 coming in and 3 coming in, then there's 5 total pathways I could get to that spot. So I'm summing them up as I'm going along. Yeah? All right. So to get from A to B, I can't loop back. You're not allowed to loop. That would be an infinite number of pathways, correct? Because you could just keep doing this like a crazy person and never ever get anywhere. So they always say you have to be going from A to B. So if I'm going from A to B, I can have one way to get me to this cross section here. I also have one way to get me there. I just walk there, right? I have one path to get me here. I just walk there. I'm not going to just stop and be like, that's one path now, that's 2. No, it's 1. I just walk to it. Here I have 1, here I have 1, right? To get to this spot, if I just walk straight down, I have one pathway to get me there, 1 to get me there, 1 to get me there, or 1 to get me there. I just walk to it. Do we agree with the ones? Okay. So now to get to this cross section here, I have one pathway coming in, one pathway coming in. So how many is that? 2 pathways here, right? Then I have 2 pathways coming in and 1 pathway coming in. So now this would be 3. Here I have 3 coming in and 1 coming in. So that would be 4. Here I have 4 coming in and 1 coming in. So that would be 5. Here I have 5 and then 1. So that would be 6. Then here I have 1 and 2. So that's 3. Then I have 3 and 3. So that's 6. Then I have 6 and 4. So that's 10. 10 and 5. So that's 15. 15 and 6. So that's 21. 1 and 3, so that's 4. 4 and 6, that's 10. 10 and 10, that's 20. 20 and 15, 35. 35 and 21, 56. 1 and 4, 5. 5 and 10, 15. 15 and 20, 35. 35 and 35, 70. 70 and 150, or sorry, 70 and 56 is 126. So that's the total number of pathways from A to B using all those things, right? That's showing pathways. Now I'm quickly going to erase it so that you're not trying to do this. Because this would not actually get me marks, because that's pathways, not factorials, right? So if we think about this is in the repetition lesson. Why the heck is it there? You pick your pencils up. The reason why it's there is because technically to get from A to B, the only movements we can do are going right or going down. Yes? I could go right down, right down, right down, right down. I could go right, down, 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 down. I could go right, down, down, right, down. You know what I mean? Like, but I'm only going rights and downs. We agree? So, how many rights do I have? I have 1 right, 2 right, 3 right, 4 right, 5 rights. Here I have 1 down, 2 downs, 3 downs, 4 downs. And I can do them in different ways, right? I could, like I said, I could go 5 rights, 4 downs, get me there. I could do a right, 4 downs, 4 more rights. I could go right, right, 4 downs, 3 rights, right? I have like all the different permutations of that, okay? So all I have to do is find out how many downs and how many rights I have, and then I treat it like the word der. Der. Really weird word? You're welcome. Der. Like the der. Der. So if I were to rearrange der, not de, it's de, more R's and D's. If I were to rearrange that, how would I do that? Well, on the bottom, what would I have? Yeah.
4 factorial, 5 factorial.
4 factorial, 5 factorial. Now, if I said they have to go do 2 downs first, then 3, right, then it would be different, right? But it doesn't say anything like that, just ask for the pathway, so there's no restrictions to the top. So if there's no restrictions to the top, what would it be?
9 factorial.
Yeah. 9 factorial. Exactly. It's all good. Because it would be 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, correct? Which is just 9 factorial. We agree? Okay, type it in. What does that get you? What are we getting? Anyone have an answer? Oh, weird. It's the same answer. Shocking. It should be the same answer. I showed you pathways by how I summed it up, right? This one has 2 different pathways. I have to decide if I do those 2 separate pathways, do I add the answers or do I multiply the answers? Well, it's and or. That's what you have to go with, right? Do I need to take these pathways and these ones to get me to B? Or could I just take these ones and miraculously, in space-time continuum, land on B? Or these ones and land at B? It's and, right? So we're going to have to multiply. If your brain falls out of your head, this is my trick. I go here and I say, I put an aggressive dot between them. Why would I put an aggressive dot between them? It would remind you to do what? Multiply. Because an aggressive dot is a multiplication dot. And at the very least, if everything falls out of your head, I hope the big aggressive dot comes back to you. It's like, oh, I thought she just told me to remember to multiply. I would love for you to understand why, because you need these and these. But if it falls out, at least maybe the big aggressive dot reminds you to multiply. Okay? But it's because you need these pathways and these ones that we multiply. Okay? So now we just have that word, and then we have very similar, but more orange. And we need this and this, so that is why we multiply. So the first der is 2 factorial, and on the top of it is 4 factorial, which is 6, times 5 factorial over 2 factorial, 3 factorial, which is 10, I believe. Maybe it's 60. Now, once again, I'm going to prove to you that it works by pathways. So this is 1 to get me here 1, 1 to get me here 1. So 1 coming in 1, 2, 2 and 1, 3, 1 and 2, 3, 3 and 3, 6. Now it took me 6 to get to the dot, so these are all 6s as well. Because it would be 6, I want to get to 6 here, it's going to be 6 to get me there or to get me there, right? 6 and 6, 12, 12 and 6, 18, 18 and 6, 24, 6 and 12, 18, 18 and 18, 36, 36 and 24, 60. Same answer. Same. Yeah? All right. So you know how you guys did, oh, we have one more. I'm a liar. 1 second. Brett bought a carton containing 10 mini boxes of cereal. I really like the mini box cereal. Fun fact, Costco now doesn't just have mini boxes of cereal. They have mini bowls of cereal. Oh my gosh, it amped up. Like my world just got so much better. Did you know that the mini boxes of cereal, I still think they might be this way, but you were supposed to, they came out when I was younger. You're supposed to be able to turn them on their side, and they have like a perforated, like on the side, there's like a perforated dealio, and then you would open it up, and you perforate the bag down the middle, and then you would use that box as a bowl. Didn't work that well, but so I don't even think they're perforated anymore. I think they may have just said like, hey, it's a little box, put it in a bowl. I think they gave up on that, but that was how it was intended. Like it would be like they had an eye in the box, and then you would just like perforate down the eye, and then it would open 2 flaps, and then in the middle would open, and you have a bowl. Does it have a perforated thingy? I don't think it does anymore. I think it failed. So anyways, now bowls, you steal my heart. I saw them at Costco, I bought them, and I ate myself some frosted flakes. However, theirs is like, oh, my goodness, it could be a might appear somewhere. Not going to let you know. But the box has some frosted flakes, some cocoa pops. Nope. Frosted flakes, corn pops, and Fruit Loops, which I despise. There was the same amount of Fruit Loops. Fruit Loops was the abundant amount. And then there was corn pops was the least amount. There was like 2. My daughter was super sad. She likes corn pops. And then there was frosted flakes. I think it was 4 frosted flakes, 4 Fruit Loops, and 2 corn pops. Keep that in mind is how that would be a permutation. Now let's go. Brett bought a carton containing 10 mini boxes of cereal. There were 3 boxes of corn flakes. There were 2 boxes of Rice Krispies. This is like a really healthy container. 1 box Cocoa Pops, 1 box Shreddies, and Raisin Bran. Fun fact, I used to love Raisin Bran. It's my favorite cereal. If you haven't tried it, you should. I don't like myself some raisins, but do like myself some Raisin Bran, the mix. Just making it, buy myself some. Okay. Over a 10-day period, Brett plans to eat the contents of 1 box each day. So, how many blanks do we have? 10. We have day 1 blank, a day 2 blank, a day 3, a day 4, a day 5, a day 6, right? So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. But what do I have to realize here? Yeah? That they are repeats. So they won't always say identical. They might say I had an identical model of car, and that's a hint. But they don't have to say identical. The box of Shreddies, you can't tell the difference between the box of Shreddies unless someone stepped on one or something. You dropped it in the corner's bed. But we're not going to be like that. These are pristine, beautiful boxes of cereal. You cannot tell them apart. So you have to spot that these are identical, and if they're identical objects, that they repeat, right? So you have to have a denominator. Okay, guys. So the denominator, 3 factorial, 2 factorial, and then I could technically go 1 and 1, and then I have to see if there's Raisin Bran, if there's more than 1. So that's 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So how many Raisin Bran are there? 3. Then it says how many different orders are possible if the first morning he has Raisin Bran. So how many options do I have for the first one? 3. A lot of people will tell me 1. Remember that we treat identical objects like they're different for the numerator, and then the denominator takes them away. Right? I'm expecting a 1 to come out of people's mouths because we're practicing. This isn't a test. So this is 3, and then how many do I have left? 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Oh, you know what? There are pros to the TI-83. If you look at the TI-84s, they have to press the left button twice to get to PRB, and the TI-83s have to press it once. So there's a positive. Yeah. What'd you get?
No, I'm just saying, getting the factorial, we can press math, get the PRB, we can just move left, and it goes to all the way to the other side.
Yeah, yeah. So you TI-84s too. TI-80 The plugging ones have to do twice.
Plus CB.
Yeah, they have to go twice because they have an extra column on the left. So you guys only have to go once less, because they have to go twice less.
Nice.
Okay, way to bring up the two TI-4s are good for both. That's not fair. I was trying to make the TI-3s feel better. So. Nope, you crushed their spirits. Okay, what do we give for an answer? Killer? Anyone? Feel like an Oprah. You get a card, and you get a card. I'm just going, you get an answer. That? Okay. All right. So, the quiz that I gave you today, I'm going to put the answers up for tomorrow so you can see them. I'm going to explain the one question where they're together and separate and they have to stay together. That's the weird one. But for tomorrow, your homework tonight, I guess, is 1 and then these. Oh, whoa, she actually gave us homework. Some days I've given you 2. Balance it out. Okay, I don't want to hear the whining. Girl, please.